That night in December 1943 was one of the coldest, scariest, and most decisive nights in history. The Eisthal airfield in northern Germany was struggling against a brutal snowstorm. The wind howled like a predator, and dark clouds churned across the sky as if the god of war himself was about to descend on Earth. In that icy, dark night, amid the flickering lights and swirling snow, the silhouette of a lone woman stood outside hangar number 7, Helena Weiss, the youngest, most brilliant, yet most underestimated female aircraft engineer of Germany. Her hands were trembling in the cold, but her eyes burned with a fire, the kind of fire that only ignites in the hearts of those who care more about their duty than their own lives. Helena wiped the fog from her glasses, took a heavy breath, and walked toward the machine whose engine had echoed in her dreams for days. Frontline, a special experimental recon aircraft designed to cut through clouds and slip deep into enemy lines. Helena knew this mission was anything but ordinary. If Frontline failed to take off in this storm, Germany's northern front could collapse. But if it succeeded, many lives could be saved. As she crouched beneath the aircraft outside the hangar, the freezing wind slapped snow across her face, but she ignored it, switched on her torch, and examined the engine's bolts and lines. Her gloves were shivering not because of the cold, but because of the pressure inside her, the kind of pressure only felt by those whose work determines life or death. But Helena had always been that type of person, someone who shined brightest under pressure. A few meters away, officers stood watching her, murmuring among themselves, "A woman engineer will handle this machine?" But Helena had heard such comments all her life. She no longer cared. For her, one truth mattered: aircraft speak, as she understands their language. Suddenly, a distant siren wailed. An incoming wave of enemy bombers was approaching the region. Time was running out. Helena immediately removed the engine cowl, warmed her hands with her breath, and reached the beating heart of Frontline, its main rotary engine. She whispered to it, "Don't fail me today. We have to win." Her eyes were moist, but the snowflakes hid her tears. The storm was worsening. Snow was now falling like a white storm. The countdown had begun. The rumbling from above was growing louder, the sound of enemy aircraft engines approaching the airfield. Helena quickly turned her wrench, fixed the valve line, and was about to tighten the last screw when the entire hangar shook. A bomb had fallen close by. The ground trembled, snow rained from the rafters, but Helena did not lift her head. She did not stop her hands. She did not pause her breath. She kept tightening the screw as if the fate of a nation or her own heartbeat was held in that single bolt. When the engine finally roared to life, the sound filled the hangar like the first cry of a newborn, the first hope of a wounded soldier, or the first lamp lit in a pitch-dark night. Helena's eyes gleamed. The pilot climbed inside, but before he closed the canopy, Helena looked straight into his eyes and said, "This aircraft will not make me regret tonight. You just hold the direction, right?" As Frontline rolled down the icy runway, the snowstorm swirling around it, Helena watched with frozen eyelashes as the aircraft leapt into the air and disappeared into the clouds. She watched the red strobe light blink in the dark sky until it faded completely. Her hands had gone numb from the cold, but her heart was burning with passion, responsibility, and hope that the machine she brought to life was saving someone somewhere above the clouds. But the story doesn't end here. Only 10 minutes later, a sudden scream burst from the radio. Frontline had been surrounded by enemy fighters. The engine had overheated, and the aircraft was shaking dangerously. Blood drained from Helena's face. She knew it wasn't her fault, but the engine was tied to her soul. Every vibration, every sound felt personal to her. The radio burst again. "We're falling!" The whole airfield felt frozen. But then the pilot's second voice came through, broken but alive. "What you built is still fighting, Helena. The aircraft is holding." And Helena stood in the middle of the hangar, tears freezing on her cheeks once again. But this time it wasn't fear, it was passion, it was pride. It was the confidence of a woman far ahead of her time, whom history recognized far too late. That night, Frontline didn't just tear through the sky, it carved Helena's name into destiny. She was not just an engineer. She was the heartbeat of the sky.